Hello, everybody. You might be wondering what's going on with the Luigi Mangione case. I got some updates for you. Let's get into it. So, the first thing on the outset is this case is really two cases. There's one in Pennsylvania, Altoona, where he was picked up, and there's one in the Southern District of New York. Now, in the Southern District of New York, and this is going to become important later in this video, in the Southern District of New York, Luigi is being charged with a few things, and in particular, he's being charged with an act that rises to the degree of TE ism. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on the platform, terms and services, but he's being charged with this particular ism charge, which trumps up his punishment up to the death penalty. So, because specifically he is facing the ism charge, that is what is making him subject to up to the unalive penalty. Okay, so not just life in prison, but he could be himself executed based on what is determined in the outcome of his case. So really truly the legal battle is a life or death situation for Luigi Mangione. Now, I am a little bit confused because it's not really easy to get the documents from the Pennsylvania court. I do see that it appears that Inner City Press, Matthew Russell Lee, does seem to have some of the documents. So maybe I will check on his Patreon and see if he has uploaded these documents. I mean, I personally like to be able to access the court documents myself so I can see and make sure that everything there is what was filed. But it appears to me that the New York case, the federal case, which is the one that he's up for the unalive penalty, he could be executed based on the outcome. That case technically appears to be continuously being put off or continued in the interest of justice. Even as recently as this month, about less than a week ago, there were some affidavits filed, which are basically just kind of pushing the case off. So putting that together, what I believe is going on is that they are litigating the one in Pennsylvania and then they're going to get to the one in New York. But I remember it being reported opposite, that he was going to be heard in New York first and then Pennsylvania. So take that part with a grain of salt. But what I can tell you for sure is there's two cases. One is a state case in Pennsylvania and one is a federal case in New York. And the federal case is the one that he is facing up to and possibly execution. Now, some things just happened I'm guessing this was a pre-trial hearing. And in case you forgot, Sean P. Puff Daddy Combs' lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, is also representing Luigi Mangione. And not only Mark Agnifilo, but also his wife, Karen Agnifilo, they are representing Luigi Mangione. Okay, so recently, like in the last day or two, it has come up that Karen Agnifilo, the lawyer for Luigi, is trying to get excluded from evidence this so-called manifesto, which was presented to the public as if it were a manifesto. Now, Karen Agnifilo, for her part, I mean, she seems to be just every bit of a zealous advocate as her husband. She's also trying to get the searched items from that backpack excluded from the trial. So she's really going at it from an evidentiary perspective. She's trying to get the manifesto excluded, it seems. She's trying to get the backpack excluded, it seems. I mean, this is what it's being reported. I was not able to see the documents myself, which is why I spent the first couple minutes telling y'all it's been difficult for me to find these documents. I am relying on public reporting right here. And this is from News Nation Now. This was posted less than 24 hours ago, published at 4:41 Central Time yesterday. And look, it says, Luigi Mangione's attorney, Karen Agnifilo, has accused law enforcement of taking the contents of a notebook they say they found on him when he was arrested and leaking it to the media. In doing so, she contends in a new court filing that it was done to whip the public into a frenzy, leading to upgraded charges that leave Mangione eligible for the unalive penalty concerning the alleged unaliving of the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Mangione's lawyer is also questioning the use of the word manifesto. Now, this is really interesting to me because Karen Friedman Agnifilo, is actually challenging even so much as the characterization of this thing as a manifesto. She's saying, hold on, buddy. Hold on, buddy. Y'all took this boy's notebook and leaked it to the media for one. He didn't give that to the media. Y'all did. First of all, I'm trying to get that thing excluded because y'all did that. But second of all, y'all are the ones calling it a manifesto when y'all are the ones who publicized these private notes. Karen Agnifilo says this ain't a manifesto, baby girl, baby boy. Words have meaning. That's what she's saying. Words have meaning. Manifesto, Karen Agnifilo is arguing, has to be published by the author to the public. And so, okay, that's interesting. Sounds a little nitpicky, but not really when you look at the whole argument she's laying out. What she's saying is this is a private notebook. It was unlawfully searched and seized off of this man based on no probable cause. So that's a Fourth and a Fifth Amendment violation in and of itself. Then you took his private notebook, you published it to the public, which he did not do. You did that. And then based on all those actions, you called it a manifesto. The whole purpose of calling it a manifesto at all was to scare and frighten people into allowing the government to charge him with this terrorism charge, which subjects him to the penalty. This is a life or death situation, whether or not it is a manifesto or is not, according to Karen Friedman Agnifilo. She's saying this ain't nitpicking, baby boy, baby girl. This is life or death. So, of course, I went and looked up the definition. I looked it up on the Black's Law Dictionary, and it defines manifesto as a written declaration of intentions, motives, or views. And it's a common term used in legal contexts to describe such declarations, often by individuals or groups. It goes on to say, in general usage, a manifesto is a public declaration of the aims, motives, or views of an individual, group, political party, or government. A public declaration is not the same thing as a private diary. I have to agree with Karen Agnifilo. However, will the government, will the feds come and argue it is a manifesto specifically because it was published? It doesn't matter who published it. It's now public because we published it. Karen, I think it's going to have some problems with them making that argument. We'll have to see. The article here from News Nation goes on to discuss a little bit more about that backpack and the contents therein. He's pleaded not guilty. It gets into that terrorism charge and says he's facing a rare New York state charge of unaliving as an act of terrorism, which his lawyer argues is because of the, quote, wildly irresponsible behavior from law enforcement. Per the court filing from Karen Agnifilo, she's saying she intends to challenge whether or not that thing is even real, first of all. I don't even know where y'all got that notebook from. I'm going to challenge the veracity of it. I'm also going to challenge how y'all got it. Was it an unlawful search and seizure? Was it not? We're going to have to find out at a hearing. In Pennsylvania, where Mangione was arrested, his attorneys have also filed paperwork to try to have all the contents of that backpack deemed inadmissible, as well as the arrest in general. They're trying to get the arrest to be inadmissible because they are saying that they did not have probable cause to question him, to pick him up, to detain him, to arrest him, to search him, or to seize his items. Both lawyers in both the federal and state case are arguing this. Also, in Monday's court filing, a request was made for Luigi to have a laptop as he awaits the trial. His lawyers proposed that he get a laptop configured solely to let him view a vast amount of documents, videos, and other material in the case. Similar limited laptop provisions have been made for some other defendants in the federal lockup where Mangione is being held. Yeah, and that would be Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs, and I think it's also Sam Bankman-Fried, if I recall correctly, but definitely Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. He's allowed to have a laptop. So the lawyer, I will remind you, for Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs, it's the same exact lawyer as the lawyer for Mangione, Mark Agnifilo. A lot of people constantly forget Mark Agnifilo is also on this case with his wife. Yes, Karen Agnifilo is the lead attorney, and she seems to be doing a very good job. I'm not trying to take away from her, work or anything, but Mark Agnifilo would know about the laptop stuff because Diddy is his client and he got the laptop in for Diddy in the same jail, the same court system, same jail. So that is the update of what is going on from a 30,000-foot view with the Luigi Mangione case. I will be keeping up with this case, and I want to try and see if I can find the documents because there may be stuff in there that is not being reported that I might need to tell y'all about. That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, if facts ain't defamation, love you, mean it. Okay, bye.